circle is finally here. I know everybody been waiting for it, right?
Well, first let me say, and let me start with Max, because Max, you just got back from like crazy road trip, crazy time, going to the FNT meetup, hanging out, meeting tons of people, doing things, going to the convention. If you haven't seen his video, folks, he's showing off comic book stuff. He's telling stories, sharing photos, and it was great. And then he follows it up, or it's sort of like layered also with a video about toxic fandom. So we're not going to let him off the hook with this. Like, he's created himself. He's in the middle of like this dichotomy of what's going out in the YouTube and the interwebs right now. So speak a little bit first, Max, about just being able to have more face-to-face time with co-creators and people doing this in our space, because it is really just a cool environment to immerse ourselves in.
Yeah, it's so funny that you say that, because it really is a dichotomy, right? It's like the video that I just released is about this thing that we all have heard of, like toxic fandom, you know, that phrase, and just the disingenuous arguments and discussions that happen underneath that umbrella of a toxic fandom. And yet, whenever I go to these meetups, whenever I go to these conventions, excuse me, there's like, I don't see anything of the sort. You see people of all different races, genders, shapes and sizes, backgrounds, and they're all wearing Superman stuff or Batman stuff or Star Wars stuff. And they're all buying, you know, books or DVDs or artwork, and meeting all the different creators. And you just, you know, it just goes to show that so much of what like Twitter and everything puts out is just not real life. And so when you go to these conventions, you do get a slice of like, these are what people are actually doing. This is what they're investing their money in, and this is what they love. And I love that aspect of it. And so I think that was what was cool at the convention, was meeting these guys, talking to them firsthand, and being able to see that what, you know, this toxic fandom stuff that keeps happening just lives so much on Twitter, and yet we still can't get out from under it. But it was good to be in person with everyone, you know, because I'm a hugger. So I got to hug everyone.
I've heard. I was going to say. You know, we didn't really. It's almost you put stuff in your head of how you'll do things, and then when it happens, it doesn't play out that way. I was like, you know, because Purple Valkyrie calls out that Max gives these great hugs. She made this big point of going on. I think she says it twice. Like, she's totally like throwing it out. So I just kind of laughed, because it's just fun. And sometimes as guys, it's like a weird thing that some people will say to us. Sometimes it's like, well, you know, we could be huggers, but then when it gets like, oh, okay. Max, you actually had a comment on one of my videos that I wanted to get to, because it kind of parlays off what Max was saying, because it's like the hate and the divisiveness over Kenobi's reaction. And I made a comment about a lot of the attacks on me was like, well, you're the old guy who can't handle the new stuff. And I'm like, well, that's not even the point of any of my videos. Like, I really am not. I will admit I'm defending canon, because I look at it as one timeline. If they had said, oh, Kenobi is not in this timeline, or we're going to do this, I wouldn't even have made these arguments. And you chimed in on one of my videos, and you said, listen, I'm 30-something years old. I'm not going to call out Max. And
it's okay.
And I kind of agree with Pops here. Like, you guys are crazy. What are you talking about? So, Mags, talk about toxic fandom and this reaction, too. Like, it's just sometimes strange to, you know.
Yeah, it is odd, because essentially what I had spoken about in my videos is this thing that continues to pop itself up whenever someone has a differing opinion from what most of the like mainstream seems to have. So like you said, Pops, like with Kenobi, it seems like if you are, you know, having an opinion about the show where you said, you know, I really just I didn't feel the passion there between Obi-Wan and Anakin. Or you say something like, I really don't understand the significance of why Leia was so much in the show. And just because of those simple concerns, people come out of the woodwork and just start saying, oh, you don't know anything, or you're just one of those old toxic people, you know, who just wants like purity of the show instead of new stories. And you get like, you know, just bombarded with all this stuff, and you go, whoa, I'm just expressing my concerns. Why do I feel like I can't do that now without being labeled as like an ist or a phobe, or worse, those people back in World War II that were on the wrong side of history?
Sure.
Just because of something you didn't enjoy in a show, or for me, something I didn't enjoy reading in a comic book. And I'm sure it's happened to everyone here on this panel, whether it's in person or online. It's just the nature of how differing opinions have been taken, which is so odd. It's such an odd way to react and respond.
Before I get to you, Mike, let me ask Mags. Mags, surely no one's attacking you like this. Not the angelic Mags. We can't possibly have them piling on you, right?
I haven't been attacked. I haven't been attacked yet. No, I haven't been attacked yet. I guess we're getting confused here, Pops. With you have to be Mags, or you can call me Magitek.
Yeah, sorry. I was like, wait, did I hear Mags?
You're fine. I'll try to be a little more clear.
We're in our 30s. I don't know, Max. I don't know if you are, but I'm in my 30s, and I'm like, I have hard hearing right now. It's okay. But honestly, I haven't gotten attacked quite yet. But I've had discussions outside of YouTube, for instance, in the normal world, and I've had, I would bring up like issues with, like, for instance, the show Loki and all that kind of stuff. And I'll be like, well, the multiverse of madness is, this, that, and the other, and all these issues going on with the show. And somebody literally said to me at work before, I don't go into the politics side of things, but, I try to have an actual, normal type of discussion.
Sure.
And sorry if my voice might sound a little low. I'm not sure what's going on.
No, you still sound angelic.
Oh, thanks.
Good
Thanks,
job,
Mike. But one of the things was that, well, the multiverse of madness will fix it. We'll take care of it. And I'm just like, well, isn't that just a cop-out? And they're like, no, it's not. And I'm like, but that, it's kind of like my brain just short circuits sometimes, because I just don't understand the fallback to, and I don't know if this is a harsh way to say it, but a fallback to mediocrity for storytelling. And I'm just like, why are you using this as a cop out in terms of, sometimes you just think of things later and, outside of the moment, but it's like, I don't understand the level of acceptance for certain things that really are truly either canon breaking or internal Disney canon breaking, and people are still okay with it, and it hurts my brain. And I'm like, this doesn't work. This doesn't compute. 2 + 2 does not equal 5.
Well, it's great that you bring up Dr. Strange Mom, which is what my nickname is for it, because the lady at work has been asking me about it. And I've kind of told her some thoughts without spoiling it too much for her. She didn't really care too much, but her and her husband finally watched it because it dropped on D+. And she said he was immediately like, well, why is this happening? This doesn't make sense or whatever. But because I had prepped her, she was more astute at trying to pick up on it. And one of the biggest things for me with that film, by the way, folks, is it's fun how in Endgame, everyone and their brother and sisters that knew a superhero would show up to fight Thanos. And yet the stakes are so much higher in Doctor Strangemom, where all of the multiverses are at stake when Wanda shows up to the temple. And basically it's Wong and Strange and a whole bunch of nobody wizards that none of us know or care about. And no superhero whatsoever is even mentioned, let alone, there's no distress call or anything like that. And she was like, yeah, that was the first sign where my husband was like, okay, I'm really confused for a minute. I have a question. Is it? And I'm like, see, we're waking people up one step at a time, one video at a time, one point at a time. Like, and I told her, and she agreed. She's like, this is not the worst one. It's just like, meh. So, Mike, let's get to you. What have you been attacked on, man? Which video has been the top of the list? Because I know, first off, if you haven't checked out Mike's videos, Mike is great because Mike is having fun with this. Like, I got to admit, for someone that's been new at this, he just feels so at ease behind a microphone, hanging out, having fun, cutting up with chat. I love it. I was on your stream so late last night. I was like, okay, I'm not sure. I gotta get some rest. Man, I was having a good time talking robots with.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate that. Yeah, totally. Thanks for showing up. I guess it's the radio broadcaster part of me, I suppose. Well, I think the one video I got attacked on. And you know what? And it feels so foolish to say that you got attacked just for just for expressing your opinion, just because you didn't like something, for example. But the one video that I really got attacked on was Shang-Chi.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, last year. And I mean, I'm sorry. The movie was garbage. It was just garbage, right? And Simu Liu, you know, he's Canadian, obviously, because he was on Kim's Convenience, which was on, you know, CBC here in Canada, which is just another mediocre show that's on, you know, on the Canadian Broadcasting Communist Network. So where you will turn a brain and accept any kind of programming we give you. So not bad for a guy that just got up, huh?
That's pretty good. Maybe right into your commie voice. I'm a little concerned. I'm both impressed and concerned. It's just so we're completely
you
clear.
should see Ushanka and back for my next expose on communism in Hollywood. Anyway, no, I mean, I just pointed out, look, here are the faults of this movie, right? Like the fighting scenes weren't that bad, but here's the problem, A, B, and C, right? And oh boy, yeah, I mean, I was called all of a sudden, I'm racist just because I don't like it. And it got so bad that on my business page on Facebook, on Freelance Graphics, that's Freelance Graphics with a K, I got all of a sudden these nasty reviews. This person is a racist because he made a comment about Shang-Chi, and in the intro he said, what was it? It was a funny, it was a reference to that song, Everybody Was Kung Fu Fighting, right?
Yes. Yes.
You know, because usually in the beginning of my video I like to, like, I don't know, have some sort of like kind of lighthearted joke of some sort, right?
Some sort
on
of
a channel called the Comic Relief Crusader, by the way. It's you know, it's not like he's the pop culture movie nerd expert or anything. He says, I am the Comic Relief Crusader. Like the brand says it all. Oh, exactly. That kung fu fighting joke was just too over the top for me. I was like, oh,
thank you. Apparently somebody gets it.
Yeah,
you know,
I felt the same way with Shang-Chi too. And it's like you look at people and you're like, what did you like about it? Well, what about this part? And they're like, oh, I don't like that part. Well, what about this part? I don't like that part. You run down, once you get to like your 6th point, you just feel like, again, my work here is done. My work, I don't know what else. I can't help you if you're that. I mean,
that's pretty much it. It's like all of a sudden a certain amount of a certain demographic, let's put it this way, a certain demographic of people for some odd reason just turn off the brain, and it's like they're the unsatisfied glutton. I need to consume, but they don't have a palate for the taste of what's being given to them. Yeah, right? Maybe. Yeah, it's just like they're the Pokemon Snorlax, just consuming everything in their path. You know, shoving everything down their maw. Yeah, and then falling asleep. Exactly, right? Just nom, 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 nom. And it's like, did that actually taste good? No, I don't know. But, you know, I feel like I'm satisfied.
Oh my God.
But, but it's true. You know,
let's say hail to Chris Persia, our Pops Wrench, our Pops Mod. Chris, take note that the Snorlax reference is now on the board. We've gotten there, so we can at least have that off our to-do list, off the bingo list of references that have been made on one of my shows. So that's awesome.
Oh, there we go. See, I inadvertently made a check mark. So
that's fantastic. That was a great reference. And